I thought I'd start 2024 off by talking about something that I generally don't, and that is color photography, or color film. I generally don't talk about color film very much because I don't shoot color film as a general rule. I vastly prefer black and white film in chemistry. However, there is one color film stock that I will go out of my way to shoot, and that is Kodak Ektachrome. Now, why, despite the fact that this is the most expensive film stock that I've ever used, do I keep going back and using it? Well, it comes down to a couple of different reasons. The current version of Kodak Ektachrome, the one that you can go into a camera shop and pick up off the shelves, assuming it's in stock, is a 100 ISO color reversal film. In fact, Kodak Ektachrome has always been a color reversal film, but the current formula, which is labeled E100, is available only at 100 ISO. Now, being a color reversal film means that it creates positive images, transparent positive images directly on the film base. Now, Kodak actually discontinued the Ektachrome lineup in 2013, but it was only gone for 5 years before Kodak brought it back officially in 2018. The current version, the 2018 version, is the only version of the film stock that I actually have any experience with, so it's the only one that I'm going to talk about in this video. Now, as I already alluded to earlier, this is an expensive film stock. B&H Photo currently has it listed at $21.99 for the 35mm version, going up from there depending on which format you choose. Now, speaking of formats, this is a film that is available in any format that you need. It's very versatile in that regard. You can have it in 35mm cassettes, obviously, but you can also have it in 120 rolls for medium format, as well as in a couple of different sizes of sheet film and in formats for cinefilm. For example, Super 8 cartridges can also be had. Now, the images that you're going to see throughout this video I took using a couple of different cameras. I used my Canon EOS 500N, which has a different name in the North American market, which I'm going to put on the screen for you. I used my Nikon FM, and I used my Olympus Pen F. And I actually tried using Sunny X16 to expose the film using the Pen F a few times, and some of those shots turned out and some of them were miserable failures. Now, the thing with Ektachrome is, partially because it was so expensive and partially because it's somewhat more difficult to shoot, it actually took me an absolute eternity to get through a single roll of Ektachrome, which is somewhat unusual compared to how quickly I will go through a roll of black and white film, especially if it's a cheap one. Nonetheless, I still shot a couple of rolls every single year for about the past 3, almost 4 years now. Now, the trouble with Ektachrome, for me personally, has been getting it developed. You can get chemistry kits to develop it yourself, and it's only slightly more complicated than C41, requiring a few extra steps. However, considering I only shot about 2 to 3 rolls of this stuff a year, it didn't make sense for me to get the chemistry, so I sent it all off to labs for processing. I used a couple different labs over the last couple of years, and every single lab that I used charged a little bit extra for developing E6 film. So that's kind of a drawback for using a color reversal film. One of the primary reasons, no, scratch that, the primary reason that I enjoy using Ektachrome so much and will go out of my way to shoot it is its color response. There's something very special about the way that Ektachrome handles color that I find very, very pleasing. You're going to get saturated, bright, vibrant colors while remaining mostly neutral in tone. There's a wonderful warmth to the images that doesn't really take things too far. The colors are beautifully bright and colorful, but they're not driven too far, if that makes any sense. One thing that I must point out with this film in the way that it handles color is the way that it renders blue. Blue is simply the most blue that you could possibly imagine when you view it on the images that come off of any roll of Ektachrome that I've ever shot. There is no sort of turquoise green tint to a sky if you'd photograph it with this film. There's no magenta cast. It's just the most ridiculously pure blue, which I absolutely adore. There's also a bit of a nostalgic quality to the film, but it's not so intense that it's really tangible. It's just something about this film has a bit of a nostalgic feel to it, which I personally enjoy quite a bit. This film also has quite a bit of contrast, and the grain response is very much to my liking as well, both of which do play into the amount of resolution and clarity that this film stock has. A very, very fine, almost completely invisible grain means that even images that came off of my half-frame Olympus Pen F have an amazing amount of detail in them. Maybe not quite so much as a black and white technical film, but still very, very impressive, very highly detailed 35mm negatives. In fact, the 35mm version of this film is the only one that I have any experience with. I can't even imagine what larger formats look like in terms of detail and just reproduction of fine and little intricacies in an image. The largest version, which are the 8x10 sheets, just gotta produce images that are unbelievable. I don't think my eyes could process the amount of information that those must be able to capture. I definitely want to try it in a large format someday. All the praise by side, there is one flaw that is really part of this film, that is also part of any color reversal film, and that is its narrow exposure latitude. If you don't get this image exposed absolutely perfectly on the film, you're gonna get basically a mess. Over and underexposed images just look like there's no real way of sort of being gentle about it. You have to nail the exposure. The dynamic range and the latitude of this film, as with all slide films, is quite narrow. So definitely took my time to meter as properly as I could, and I still end up with some garbage. And garbage with this film hurts a lot more than with a usual film, since it's incredibly expensive. Overall, it's just a rather unforgiving film to work with, especially when you compare it to professional quality C41 films like Kodak Portra 160, which is often available for slightly less. That film has a significantly larger dynamic range and can handle exposure screw-ups with a lot more grace than Ektachrome. But I don't feel like that film quite rewards you with the same fantastic and beautiful colors that Ektachrome. Ektachrome simply has a look and feel to the way that it represents color in a way that I haven't encountered in any other color film or in any other type of color photography, digital included. It has a way of simply making everything more beautiful. Everything that I photographed with this film turned out looking better than it did in real life. Everything from plants and foliage to random stuff around the house and around property and in the gardens here to portraits, it didn't matter. Everything looked better on Ektachrome than it did in reality. There's just something about the way that it handles color that is absolutely beautiful that I will never be able to get over. Plus, there's nothing quite like looking at a slide through magnification. It's different than it is looking at a print. It's different than looking at a scan. It's just, there's something about it. There's something about looking at an image in a direct positive slide that just is absolutely fantastic. And it's for these reasons that I'm going to keep shooting Ektachrome going into 2024, despite the fact that it is ridiculously expensive. And I'm going to make it a goal to try it in a larger format this year. Ideally, large format. That's sort of part of where I would like to head this year. I want to try getting into large format photography. Thank you so much for making it this far in the video. I really appreciate all of you for watching. Please like this video if you think I deserve to. Subscribe if you think I've earned it. Can't speak today, and I will see you next time.